Good evening, fellow flyers. Here we have an explanation of the modifications I've done with my Blackout Mini. Now, you see, just from looking at it, I've gone against the grain and not put my ESCs on the arms like everyone else. Now, I wanted a bit of protection because, well, I anticipated just bashing the hell out of this thing. So, what I've done is, you can see here, I have my ESCs. They're only 12 amp ESCs, so they're quite small. Now, I used 10mm spacers to space the frame out, but can only do it at here, at this end, and in the middle, and at that end as well. Now, what you need to do is what I did anyway, is get 10mm spacers, and you cut them down to 7mm. This fills the gap and makes the both parts of the frame level, because if the frame's not level, then it's going to be a bit cockeyed, and you're basically going to not be able to fly straight. Now, obviously the standard screws aren't long enough, so what I got were some stainless machine screws. These are just normal M3 screws, and you know, they're the same thread as everything else. Now, these screws, it's not going to come out. These screws are 20mm of thread. Now, you'll be able to see how long the screws are from the 20mm, because they protrude through here. Now, I took advantage of this as well where the standoffs are, because if you put the steel through there and screw the standoffs, it becomes so massively more stronger than what it was with plastic ones, because man, I bashed the heck out of this thing and it has just stayed together. It's incredible. Now, I'm using steel screws at the top as well to make it stronger again, and I'm using the steel threads in these dampeners. Now, if you want to see about my GoPro mount, check out the video about my GoPro mount. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. All the other standoffs, I've also used steel screws, but they're a little bit smaller. I'm also using the Naze Mini board, which is really tiny board. And it gives me a lot more room for whatever else kind of junk I need to fit in there, such as my transmitter and my OSD stuff. So that's how I did it. I thought someone else could benefit from my experience. It's not hard. The first problem that I came across is that my first idea was to thread the spacers, because they're just nylon spacers from like Hobby King and stuff. I threaded them onto the screws to hold them captive on the frame. Now, this is a pretty big mistake initially, because they can only hold so much tension between the two plates. And see, what I had is the nuts pulling up the tension on the top part. Now, all that's going to do is pull up the tension between the top plate and the spacer. It's not going to pull up tension on the arm either. So what happens is, if you try and get it tightened, it will only tighten up between the top two layers, and it will never tighten the arm fully. And what I actually experienced my first time out flying with this, after I did this modification, this is how I built it for starters, is that both of these arms started to move in and out, because, I mean, there is a little bit of give in the holes, and you know, you've got to sort of account for that. But if those two move together, you can see on the regular Blackout, I mean, my props are chewed out as well. The reason they're chewed out is because my props actually hit each other, because these two arms moved in and out. So you do have to drill the spacers out. I mean, I only drilled them to M3, so they're still a fairly close press fit on there. So they just slipped over, but that makes the bolt with the nut pull the tension over the whole sandwich effect there, and makes it a heck of a lot stronger. I also roughed up the arms on the underneath and the frame on the top as well, so just puts a bit of sandpaper on there, just to make it a bit more friction on there to hold the arms together steady. So that's how I did it. Happy flying.